is good, good people? You are now listening to another episode of A Wicked Good Time with Danny Foxworth. I am your humble narrator, Danny Foxworth, and once again, we're back for a brand new episode, and we're going to sniff some candles and talk about some things. So, first order of affairs. You know, this was something that my dad opined on in regards to one John Legend, and it wasn't until fairly recently that I realized that my dad, he's not a big fan of John Legend and his voice. He said, and I quote, "He sounds like a ghost that's trying to sound soulful." And I've never heard a more apt description of somebody's singing voice in my entire life. And the more I paid attention to it, the more it made sense to me. And the thing that really blew me was that when they had the fires in LA and they had the inmates out of the prisons in LA, letting them free to help them put the fires out. And then, you know, that's a pretty arduous task. And I imagine when you get through putting out fires, you know, you're trying to enjoy some semblance of freedom being outdoors. And the last thing you want to do after the task is complete is sit at the picnic tables. And here comes John Legend wanting to sit with y'all. And he's singing Ordinary People. I highly doubt that they wanted to sit through that after what they went through, putting those fires out. You're just sitting there. Now I'm like, man, why don't you go away? I'm sure I'm not the only person that was feeling that watching that video. I know them inmates, they wanted to throw their bottles of water at him, tell them, please leave, because you're not helping the situation. Like, why sing Ordinary People to them? But anyway, whenever I heard him singing that, and that just really drove Dad's point home. And I'm like, you know what, Dad, you are 100% right. And that's such an accurate description of John Legend's singing voice. But anyway, now we're going to sniff some candles. So the two candles that I bought for this episode, I actually bought from Big Lots. For those that don't know, Big Lots is going out of business, and there's a Big Lots in Monk's Corner. And I got to thinking, you know what? After I get off of work, I'm going to go check them out and see what they got marked down. And so, you know, I'm just making my way through the store. I went to the candle section. I was like, oh, man, they done wiped the shelves clean of all the candles. So I was a little distraught. And then I picked up a couple things here and there. And as I'm making my way to the checkout, noticing there's a small shelf right there in the path of you getting to the cashier. And there was a small little shelf there that had a handful of candles that were marked down for $4. I'm like, oh, I guess it was meant to be. So I picked two candles, and the first candle that I'm going to try is Natural by Aroma Light. This one is Brazilian pink pepper. Here comes the pink pepper. 14-ounce scented candle. So this is actually the Big Lots brand. So take the good old nose test with this. It's 2 wicks, getting your bang for your buck. So take this top off, take this paper top off here, and oh man, yeah, this is a very, very clean smell. That's not really my idea of what pink pepper smells like, but man, I'll take it. It smells like, it's like an ocean breeze scented dial soap. It has an extremely clean smell to it. Yeah, I definitely, this is something I would definitely light up after I finish cleaning the house and mopping the kitchen floor. So yeah, this one here gets a passing grade. Good job, Natural. Good job, Big Lots. So now the next thing I want to talk about is the Grammys that took place over this past Sunday, and seeing so many of my favorite talented rap artists get their just due and win some awards. So Doechii won the Grammy for Best Rap Album of the Year, and her album, Alligator Bites Don't Heal. Technically, it's a mixtape, but still, it's just a phenomenal project from beginning to end. And I also got to give a big South Carolina shout out to the producer of her song Nissan Altima, who is a guy by the name of Childish Major. He's originally from Edgefield, South Carolina. So yeah, shout out to him. South Cac 803 is in the building. And then Rhapsody won an award with her song with Erykah Badu off her album Please Don't Cry. That album right there, I'm not even gonna lie to you. That was probably a top 3 rap album for me. Is that album, The Car, The Thief Next to Jesus, and then My Story Got Stories by Bruce Wolf. Those are my top 3 rap albums of 2024. But man, that Rhapsody album, I love it because she's just completely vulnerable and she's just really letting the listener know what's going on in her life. And that's one of the things I love the most. That's the most enjoyment I get out of creators and like the music world. Like, it's good to be lyrical, miracle, spiritual, but sometimes I want to know what's going on in your life. Same thing with podcasting. I dig people talking about current events, but eventually it comes to a point where I'm like, okay, who are you? Like, what's going on in your life? Share some stuff with us. But yeah, kudos to Rhapsody and Erykah Badu. I believe that's her first Grammy, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But man, Kendrick, what can I say? This fool Drake talking about Kendrick just opened his mouth. Somebody hand him a Grammy right now, and the National Association of Recording, the Association or Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences said, bet, do not threaten us with a good time. Not Like Us, Song of the Year. Got 5 nominations and won all 5 in all 5 categories. A clean sweep. I know that had to be eating him up on the inside. Seeing Beyonce and Blue Ivy jamming to it whenever he got the award for Song of the Year. And then Taylor Swift is dancing along to it, acting a fool with the ace of spades in her hand. And then he's talking, and then Mustard's on stage talking about the sweep, and then camera pans to Taylor, and she's doing the sweep motion. I'm like, oh boy, poor Drake, poor little Drake. And then the fact that Kendrick shows up on stage to accept this Song of the Year award wearing the Canadian tuxedo. This man is diabolical. I do not want smoke with Kendrick in any way, shape, form, or fashion. It's not going to end good. It would not end good for me. It ain't ending good for Drake. And then on top of that, he's got the Super Bowl halftime performance. Brother, this is the victory lap of all victory laps. So shout out to Kendrick Lamar. And now, without further ado, we're going to get into the next candle. So this candle is actually, this next candle is actually, this is the food and beverage scented candle. And this one is way out of season. But, well, I don't know. It's kind of misleading because it's called Candy Kiss. But this one, it's got, looks like Santa Claus, but the Santa hat has hearts on it. And he's holding a heart that says, be mine. So I don't know, maybe it's out of season. Maybe it's right on time with it being Valentine's Day. And the label actually looks like a mini Santa with that same hat with the hearts on it. And he's got the bow and arrow like Cupid. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. This one was also $5 at Big Lots. So now I take the top off of this one. And this one is 3 wicks. Okay. So now I'm going to take the good old nose test and see what it's hitting on. Oh, man. This smells just like the golly, it smells just like the mint. It smells like mint chocolate chip ice cream. You know what? I definitely, if I lit this up on a scale of 1 to piss my dad off, I don't know. This might be a smooth 7.5, 8 on the piss my dad off scale. If I lit this and he came over, he would be inquiring about the smell in a positive way. So man, 2 for 2. Big Lots, take a bow. Man, hate to see you go, but I tell you what, I love markdown candles, and especially when the markdown candles are passing the test. And lastly, at the end of this month, I'm making a return trip to Charlotte. This is actually my first time being in Charlotte since April of last year. And I'm really, really, really looking forward to this one because my podcast heroes, Rod and Karen, which are who are comprised of the Black Guy Who Tips podcast, they do a live show every year. And the last one I went to, I had so much fun, laughed my face off, and got to meet so many internet friends in real life for the first time. And I'm going to run it back. And their live show is going to be on February 28th at the Blumenthal Performing Arts Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. And also, while I'm there that weekend, that's going to be on a Friday night. And then that Saturday afternoon, the Charlotte FC Soccer Club they're going to have their home opener to start the season. And I've never been to a Major League Soccer game. So got my ticket for that, and I'm looking forward to that. They're playing their rival Atlanta United at that game starts at 2 p.m. And then walking up a few blocks uptown for the evening slate, which is the Hornets. They got a game at 6 p.m. against the Washington Wizards, and I'll be to that game as well. So, man, I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this trip, and I'm glad that these candles really did the job. So again, once again, shout out to Big Lots. Man, yeah, I'm gonna get my money's worth with these candles for sure. So this is a good time to put the car in park and say thank you for listening to A Wicked Good Time with Danny Foxworth. Make sure you like, download, and subscribe to the podcast. Make sure that you tell a friend and tell a friend. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find it at Danny Foxworth 843. At that channel, you can find all the videos for episodes for this podcast as well as my other podcast, Since We Last Spoke with Danny Foxworth, my baseball podcast, At the Plate with Danny Foxworth, and my other podcast, Growing Up Low Country with Liz and Danny. And if you have any questions regarding any of those podcasts, my podcast email is foxworthpodcast@gmail.com. All I ask is that you type in the title of the show that you have a question for in the subject header, and I'll respond to you in kind. And that's been another episode of A Wicked Good Time with Danny Foxworth. And until next time, y'all be good. Keep it lit.